Good afternoon, everyone. It's Robin Carter with Robin's Creations out of Flower Mound, Texas. I am here today to share some more alternates I've made using the Beyond the Horizons paper pumpkin kit for March of 2022. If you saw my video yesterday, you know there are several components I did not use because I didn't want to cover up the pretty scenery. So today I'm going to use some of those as well as the envelopes to make these alternates. If you're a subscriber to my channel, thank you so much for subscribing. If you are new to my channel, I would appreciate if you would subscribe and hit the bell for notifications of when I post new videos. If you like this video and to help support me, give me a thumbs up below the video. And check me out the rest of the week. I have many alternates I will be sharing. So let's get started with these. So these are the alternates I've made. They're in little plastic sleeves, so I'm sure they're kind of glowing. But I made these with the envelopes and the bonus stamp set that we received with our paper pumpkin kit. So let's get started. So let's start out with this video. Excuse me, I forgot to silence my phone. Let me do that real quick. Okay, so I took this envelope and I already put some of the components in that we're going to use. So you're going to use the embossed little white piece that came in your kit, as well as this greenery die cut that was included in your kit. So we'll put that aside. And then you will have one extra label because I sent 4 of these. But I happen to have this die set that's retired now. I can't think of the name of it, but any label would work. I just happen to have this, so this is what I'm going to use. Okay, so you'll want to start by taking your envelope, got a little mess over here, and get your trimmer out. Okay, and then I start by just trimming just a hair off the edges. Okay. All right, so then you can open up your envelope. Now, we're only going to use this piece for this card we're doing today, this alternate. So you'll still have this piece and this piece, which we will use later for other alternates. So now what you'll notice is on this part, you have this where the envelope connects, it's kind of slanted. So you'll want to make that straight. But first, let's cut off the main flap from the envelope. And you may want to put it just, sometimes if you cut on the score line, you get some fraying. So you may want to do it just a hair off of that. I think you'll get scoring or fraying. I meant fraying. If I said the wrong thing. Okay, so we got a nice clean cut there. And now I think I need to undo some or bring my trimmer down because we're going to trim off to make this square. And if you'll see right now, I would like to keep it 5.5, but I don't think that's going to work. So I'm just going to trim a hair. I think it's going to end up about, that's about 1/16. Let's see how that works. Yep, that made it square. And then I'm going to turn it down and use the bottom part of my trimmer and trim off another 1/16 or so to make it square. Okay, so now my total length is 5.25. So that works out great for layering. So these will be trash, the only trash you have. And then I want to make it as big as I can here. And again, this is rounded. So I'm just going to trim from there to there at a good length that I like. Let's see, this one I did 3.25. Let's see if we can get 3.25 out of that. I think so. So this is at 3.25 long-wise. And so then you just have this as trash. Okay, I'll set the trash over there. Okay, so now we can put away, well, let's not put away our trimmer. So if you don't have any extra cardstock, this would look fine on there. But I like to mat it with coordinating cardstock. So I have a piece of pale papaya that I'm going to trim to mat this. Now, this is already 5.5 inches this way, so that'll fit all the way across my card. And then I need it to mat this. So since it's going to have a teeny tiny, let's see, it was 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I want the same type of border all the way around. So I believe I want this 3.5. I can kind of eyeball it this way. Whoops. Cut her out. So let's cut it 3.5 and see how it looks. Okay, that looks good. So you may not want to cut your cardstock until you cut your envelope first to see what size you get. I'll turn my lamp down a little bit. Seems a little, looks kind of yellow on my computer video, but I believe it's good. So now we'll want a card base, and as y'all know, I cut extra card bases when I'm not feeling creative. I just sit and make my card bases. And as I always mention, if there's a part of your envelope base that's just a hair bigger, you'll want to make that the front. And then if it's not quite square, sometimes I can rescore it and get it square. All right, so now I would recommend a whole piece of this. Don't try to skimp and excuse me, cut the centers out, because this is a very thin paper, the envelope paper, and adhering it to the cardstock gives it a little more stability. And I'm going to use my liquid glue, which I have put in to a mini tip bottle. It's the same Tombow liquid glue. And I like to use it because it gives me wiggle room. And I have my grid sheet all crooked. All right, so I just put little dots. So you want to be real careful with your envelopes, because the paper is so thin that you don't want to put a big old blob of glue, because it probably would wrinkle. Let me keep that upside down. All right, and then we're just going to attach that to this. Move that down. Okay, and then we're going to attach it to our envelope base. And I'm just going to center it. Again, I'm going to use my Tombow liquid glue. And I'm going to turn it this way first, because I'm going to use the grid lines to help me get the piece centered. Once I get the glue on. I'm using a new mic today, so I'm hoping the video or audio is a little better. All right, so when I line this up, it looks like I have about just a little over one thing. And eyeball it is good. And then with the liquid glue, I can stand it up, make sure it's square. And if for some reason you have any hanging over, you can use your trimmer or your scissors. I guess you could use your trimmer as well. And just snip that right off so it doesn't hang over. Maybe the trimmer would have been easier. I think I cut into my envelope a little bit. But you get the idea. All right. Set these aside. So I'm going to put this in my box so I don't lose it. All right, and now you want to take your embossed piece, and you can either do embossing up or have the debossed side down, and we're going to attach this leaf part with our glue dots. So let me get some glue dots out. I have a little stash of them from all the other paper pumpkins, and I kind of just use whatever I have out. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to get up the glue dot. And I'm going to put it on, I'm going to put it over here so I can see that part. You could also use your fine tip glue, and that may have to go on the other parts. The other thing you could do is roll this up and make it smaller. It'll fit there. And then I'm going to go ahead and get back out my fine tip liquid glue to put on these little sprigs sticking up. Okay. Whoops, I gotta take my backing off of the glue dots, don't I? Okay. Need my little tweezers. All right, so then I'm gonna put this right on the center ish, eyeballing. And if your glue oozes, you can get it off with your fingers. It's stuck to my finger. My finger had a little glue on it. And there you go. So, and then we're going to put that on this side of our card, but I'm going to do it with dimensionals. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I love dimensionals. So I have a strip here, and you know I've cut them in half, which is fine. I want to get my adhesive remover first and run over that. It's much harder to do afterwards, but it seems to be missing. Oh, here it is from yesterday. This thing has got to be like 15 years old or more. Okay, so now there's less gum around it. Okay, so now I'm going to put on the dimensionals. I tend to always do one in each corner and one or two in the center, depending on how long it is. I'm going to do two this time. No magic formula there, really. Now, if at any point you would like to change yours up, and let me make sure I have it going the right direction. As you know, in my last video, I had one going the wrong direction. Anyway, at any point you could add ribbon, either around this or this part before you put it on. Okay, so now we want to do our label. Now, I showed yesterday how I line up all my labels. Let me kind of swipe all this trash aside. How I line up my video labels using the Stamparatus. So I showed how to line this up with the labels that came in our kit. Hopefully gonna find that. This is me think you have everything out. You don't, but here it is. So I show how you can line this up. Excuse me, that's pretty loud. Stamp, and then take all your other labels out and put them in here and do the same ones. If you want different sentiments, you could flip your base around, your plate, but the Stamparatus also comes with 2 plates, and you could do the same thing. I also recommend doing one furthest away from the hinge. So if your plate was here, I'd probably do this one because the hinge makes it harder to get an impression. Now this label is smaller than that one. That's okay. So, but before I do that, I want to show you, I used my blending brush to make this one kind of green. It's up to you whether you like that or not. So I'm going to do that again. Let me put this under my desk again. And I'm going to get just a scrap sheet of paper. So I don't mess up my pretty grid sheet. I should have plenty of scrap sheets of paper. Here's one. Okay, and I'm going to do this in Pear Pizzazz ink. Move these over here. Now, if you just have the ink spot that we received in a paper pumpkin kit a while back, I would either just take a block and put your ink on it, and then that way you can pick it up. So, and as you can see, I have a blending brush. I kind of do it for the main color families. But I'm just going to blend that on there. And to start off, I mean, I just barely lay it on there. Just barely. And start swirling. And then as I see the inks evening out, I give it a little more pressure. And you can ink it up a lot, a little bit, however you like it. So I'm going to do a little more pressure and get that darker. Okay, and then before I finish, I try to get the rest of the ink off so that if I go with a different color, then I'll be ready to go. Okay, that looks pretty clear. I'm going to bring my Stamparatus back out. And I'm going to use this just as a guide since I have that stamp lined up for those. And I want that to be around the same. Going to get some washi tape. Oops, make sure everything is in the corner. And get it straight like you like it. Other washi to do the other side. You could also use a post-it note, post-it tape. Okay, so that's in place. I'm going to ink it up with my Misty Moonlight. Even though I have the big pad, I do like to use the spots on the Stamparatus. Okay, I inked that up well. Close it up. Hope it didn't move. Now I'm going to try to rub without shaking my table, which shakes the camera. I noticed in some of my videos it did that, and I apologize. And that looks good. I think I did this one in basic gray. Actually, I don't think. I know I did. But I wanted to try it with Misty Moonlight since that was the ink spot included in the kit. And I like it. And find my sponge and would clean that off, and I can do that later. Oh, here they are. Doesn't look like there's much ink on there, but just to be for sure, always clean off your stamp in case you switch colors. Okay, so here we go. Now I used twine, and I'm wondering how the ribbon that came in our kit would look. I think it would blend in too much. I think you need this either a different color. It would look okay because there are variations of shades, so you could use that. I have bought very similar ribbon. It's called the Cotton Ribbon Combo Pack. It's in the Mini Catalog. It was part of the Horizon kit. And I like that it has, I'd have to look in the catalog, but it almost looks like a Blushing Bride and a Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to bust open this and see how since I did Misty Moonlight ink. And I think I'm going to do something. This is what I do for a ribbon saving technique. If you want to do like a wash behind it, or a little swaddle, I don't know, a bunch behind it, I generally just take it and do that and then trim it. So I just give me enough to put on there. I know that's real cheap, isn't it? But no one knows. No reason to use all your pretty ribbon. So, and then I get Scotch tape and I put it along. Make sure I still like it. A little closer, I think. And tape it there. So I have the ribbon package around me. Okay, and then Let's widen that up a little bit. A little close together. Better. And then you can do the same thing on this side if you want. And I mean, that just used a smidgen of ribbon. Give me enough room to tape it though. Okay. Get my Scotch tape again. So there's a little ribbon saving technique you can use and put that around. So which one do you like best? The twine or the little ribbon? The other thing to even this out I want to do is, actually I'm going to pretend like it started off here. More tape. And I'm going to balance it out with the other side. So just another small little piece. You may think that's a lot of work, but it works. So do what works for you. And all will be well. All right, I think I like that better. It's a little more balanced. All right, and so I'm going to put this up on dimensionals as well. And I finished up that other little section, so I'll start anew. Try to get it on the label itself and not just the Scotch tape. And I have one of my hairs in there. No one wants that. And their card. Okay. Take out the backings. Then we're going to put it on the side. So you can do it however you like it. I kind of like it centered. And then I embellished, if you're out of the ones in the kit, I just did some rhinestone jewels here, which I will do that later. All right, so let's go on to our next card using an envelope. So this one is going to use the yellow envelope. And I love this pattern. And it's a good thing I found a way to just use the flap that doesn't have that pattern on there. So let me get my flower out of here. It's kind of stuck. So I pre-stamped the flower that was in our bonus in Misty Moonlight. First I stamped off on regular paper and then stamped on. And then the detail stamp is stamped in full ink. So that's how you get the two-tone with one ink color. I also pre-stamped some leaves that we're going to fussy cut. I did this in Old Olive. And then from the Forever Ferns, there's matte coordinating die. The Forever Flourishing. Yes, Forever Flourishing. And I love these dies. So this is this die. And I thought it went really well behind the card. I guess you're wanting to see the card. I should get it out for you. Let's see. Well, that's kind of funny because I had them all out to start with. Here they are. Okay, sorry about that. I set them aside over here. So this is the card we're going to make with that. So we're going to do the same thing with the envelope that we did with the pale papaya. So I need to get my trimmer back out. And again, we're going to cut 1/16 off of each side. Oh, Oh dear, that was too much. What did I do? Was this envelope a little bigger? I don't know. No, it would be the same size. So one. What's that going to leave me with? Okay, it's 5.5 right now, so that'll work. Whoops, that's a scoring gun. All right, so more trash. So my flap is 5 1/4 this time. Was it that the last time? I do not remember. I'm going to cut this just a hair inside the line and put this in my box to use later. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that pattern. And then again, just square this off. I believe it was 3 1/4. 3 1/4. So you're left with just a little bit of trash. So I thought this was a great way to use this side that doesn't have any other pattern on the side. Oops, don't need to put my trimmer away because again, I want to mat it. Now the coordinating color says Bumblebee, but I'm running low on my Bumblebee and I found crushed curry works very well as well. So that's what I'm using here. It's my crushed curry, which if for some reason Bumblebee runs out because it's a retiring color, you'll know you can always get crushed curry. So the crushed curry piece is 5.5 by 3.5 to mat it. Now I can put my trimmer away. And again, I'm going to use my liquid glue. If for some reason your paper kind of sticks up like mine did there, I just take my nail and run it along. I guess you could use a foam folder if you don't have nails. And I didn't set it upside down, so we got to give the glue a second to run down. Make sure it's not clogged. There we go. I'll hold this thing with my finger out of the way. And again, just little spots of glue that we're going to smooth out on the way. Well, I fiddle with this thing, but I really like it. Okay. And we're going to put this on our crushed curry with equal spacing around. That's why I like the liquid glue. It gives me a little wiggle room to get what I think appears centered. Okay, and then we get another card base. Feel for which side goes up, and I believe it's this one. And then I'm going to glue this on here. So as you know, you get 3 of each of these envelopes. So you could make 3 with each bottom. Okay, I'm going to use my grid paper to get it somewhat even again. And then while it's still not dry, try to get it flush by tapping it on my tabletop. That one's good. It's not hanging over or anything. Okay, now this stamp is bigger than your D block, pretty much. I mean, it's going to hang off a little bit. If this is the only block, or I guess it's thinner, your paper pumpkin is thinner, you could do stamp surgery on your flower and actually cut this one off where there's more spacing. And also on the detail, you just have to line it up with your eyes. Good thing they're see-through. But I did not have to do stamp surgery, one, because you have a stamparatus, so that's a good reason. But I did want to cut this flower off. So I'm gonna use my better scissors for paper. And again, you'll want to turn your paper, not your scissors. It just makes for smoother cuts. side off. I don't want to point. Okay. So now I have this flower, and I do want to do the center with the stamp. Hold on, I gotta get a different color. I think I'm gonna do the center in Daffodil Delight. And this is the bonus stamp set we have. And of course the stamps are on a block somewhere. Here they are. I always put them on a block if I'm not going to put them away on the sleeve or they are lost. So for the center, I want to take this solid image and stamp off on a sheet of paper. I'll do the back of that. And then stamp on my flower for a light, and then I'm going to go full strength with the little markings. Okay. Okay, back to the card. So since I have this, you don't have to put this behind there. I just really liked what it added to the card if you don't have this die cut. And then I'm going to stamping paper, and we're going to stamp a greeting. And I think I went with the hello that was part of the main kit, but we could make this one do something else. Let's see. Best wishes. I think I like the best wishes. I haven't used that one yet. We have to pick a different label, but that's okay. Excuse me, that was loud. And I'm going to use my Misty Moonlight this time. Again, I'm going to use my big pad. And since I'm using a punch, I don't think it matters. Maybe we'll use my new Pick-a-Punch I got. Somewhat straight, I think so. Okay, trimmer again. Now, if you remember the Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch, you get either a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, or a full inch. So let's see what I left to give me equal border on this one. That looks like about 75 or 0.75 of an inch. And I've learned that if you do it just a hair less, it fits in the punch better. So let's give this a try. Which one do I want to use? Let's see what this one looks like. And I always flip it over, slide it in against the edge, and punch. And it goes flying everywhere. Let's do the other side. Best wishes. You can do best wishes for anything. On the inside, it could be like a birthday card, wedding card. Oh, and I did the wrong side, didn't I? Well, we're gonna fix that. There's never a mistake in card making. I think I'm gonna hang it off the side and then trim it. So we just have that one side. Okay, so before I did add Wink of Stella to my flowers. And what I like to do is on a block, get it started so I don't have a big blob. I've run a whole flower before by having a big old blob of Wink of Stella. And I find that's generally enough. Okay, so added some shimmer. Since I have such a teeny label, this label was bigger. By the way, the Everyday Label Punch, which is on the last chance list, and I'm going to miss this punch a lot. It's nice and big, and I like the shape of it, and you can even trim it and make many different labels out of it. So if you don't have this in your stash, it's a good one to add. Okay, but back to this card. All right, so I am going to put this on dimensionals because I love them. You can add so much detail to your card. Just plenty. All right, take the backing off. That way when I stick my leaves, because I still need to fussy cut those for you. All right, I think about there, but I think I need to put my leaf down first. I'm just going to take my adhesive wherever it disappeared to and just do some of the leaves. You don't have to do all of them. Okay. Now I'm going to do this diagonally. Oops. Try to lay it down and not move it, or you'll get shiny glue everywhere. Hopefully we'll cover up any that, and that's not sticking down. Good. And then my flower. If you see it, say over there. Okay, that is too funny. How stuff can go missing so quickly. Let's see, sentiment about here. This time I'll probably do this here. I'm looking. Always on a video, something happens crazy. I mean, I just had the stamp or the thing, and I put dimensionals on it. Is it sitting out right in front of me? No. Okay, well, that flower will show up, and we will put it here. But I'm going to finish the card. I'm going to put this on with dimensionals, and maybe while we're doing all of that, it's going to pop up in my eyeball. It's stuck. No. Okay, I'm going to put it on the left-hand side and one kind of in the middle because I'm going to hang it off and then we're going to trim it. So I think I'm going to like that because it's going to let the pretty, but my whole wish needs to stay on the card. All right, best wishes. Is that straight? I can use my grid paper-ish. I think it looks straight. That's all that matters. And now I'm going to take my scissors and trim that off. So no mistake doing the wrong end. If you pay attention and do the right end, you don't have to hang it off. Okay, well, I'm going to give up on the flower. I think you get the drift of it. I may put it here and then put the other ones down. Oh, it is stuck to my sleeve. Problem solved. I hope y'all can laugh at me as much as I do. I tend to not take this too seriously. We want to trim this a little bit. And not make it square. All right. How do I want to do this? Since that further up, maybe I could put this flower over here. I think that's a good idea. So you can arrange these however you like. But I love the big flower. It's a little pointy, but I'll put them off this way. I like that. That's so funny that it was stuck to my sleeve. All right, so there is our second card. Again, I'll just add jewels, and I'll probably put one on the flower like I did here. And to get the triangle effect, you can kind of go here and here. are here and here. And I think that will really add pizzazz, almost off the camera, to this card. So here's how I made the alternates with the bottom flap of the yellow envelope. And again, you can make 3 of these if you choose. Okay, so now our next card, I used the green envelope. And my paper is off. There we go. So we're going to make this card. So I already have a piece left because I did the same thing I did with the other envelopes, except this time I took the bottom half and I cut it in half. So, you know, that piece we had that was 3 1/4, mine must have been a little bit bigger, and because this one's 1 1/2. So it'll work, just whatever it is. If it's smaller, that's okay. And then I have a pre-cut and embossed piece with the Stripes and Splatter 3D embossing filters. These I love. It gives such a cute, let's see if how can I show that? That's like a splatter, and this is the one we use. So that's how I label them, so I don't forget the names. And there's 1 of 2. That way I know there's 2 that go with that. All right, and then I need 1 more base. So with the green envelope, if you choose to do this design, you get 3. Or excuse me, there's 3 envelopes and you do 2, you would get 6. And if you prefer this design over these designs where it's in the center, then you can get 3 as well. But I think we're getting plenty of cards out of this kit. Now I'm going to put the more solid green on the left-hand side because the flower might cover it up. And I'm going to trim that, and that's okay. I already have 3 little strips of pear pizzazz that are going to cover that up. So it looks like I need to cut these both to the same size as this, which is probably 5 1/4. It is. Let me get my trimmer out. And for those that don't have your kit, I know Stampin' Up! Wants you to have it as soon as possible, and I know it's frustrating, but it's just the supply chain issues. And on the bright side, hopefully those that have the kit are sharing their alternates, and then when you get your kit, you will know which ones you like best, if you do alternate. The kit is designed to make as is for simple, beautiful card making, and these cards are beautiful as they come. All right. And also, if you have been a subscriber for a while, you probably have a little stash of sentiments that you can use if you don't like these sentiments, or if you're looking for something more specific. Okay. Now, if you don't have a big shot machine, you could do this as well, and just do your strip and put your flowers over here. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. So I do that, and then I cover up the gap with my pear pizzazz. Okay, do you like these? Leave me comments in the comments below. I like to read any that people leave me. One day I'll get brave and do this stuff live. All right, I like it. And hopefully I pre-did my flower, and I'm not going to put dimensionals on it this time so I don't lose it. Oh, you know what? We forgot to add our leaves to the other card. Maybe I'll go back and do that in a minute. I got so flustered with it being on my sleeve that I forgot to do the leaves. But I guess with that big leaf, I didn't really notice. Okay, those are just some extra parts that I had. Now, let me tell you, these labels are from the Tasteful Labels dies, which are also on the retirement list. And I love these. Um, there are so many different designs. Let me see if I can find the pack real quick. It is. I actually had them with all three that I wanted to show. So this is the Tasteful Label dies. And we're using this one and this one for the center. But several of them are stitched. They're either stitched or embossed. And I like that variety. And there's 10 different dies that you could use for anything. Some others that are retiring are the Stitch So Sweetly, and that makes me sad because I use this a lot. And then these ornate frames are so nice because I like the stitching, I like this shape and these shapes. So if you don't have these in your stash and you really like them, get them now before they are gone. Okay, back to the card. So another thing I do, so I have a separate video on how to line up your die cuts to get equal spacing around them. But when I have a label, I also do that for my Stamparatus. Is I cut the shape out of some cardstock that got messed up. All right, and then I put that in my Stamparatus, make sure everything's in the corner. And then I lined my stamp up. I guess this one would be this way, but since I had this space, the back side of my Stamparatus, I did it like this. And then pick it up with your plate. And the good thing about the deluxe foam mat, as I always say, is you can test it out. So you can ink this up, stamp it, and see if it's straight. It should be straight. And again, I did this template away from the hinges. So you can cut as many of these as you would like, and then you have your sentiment ready to go. So let's see, let's do it in the basic gray. Using the big pad, I'm probably gonna get ink all over the plates, but that's okay. I did pretty good, right? I just think the basic gray, you could use Memento black ink if that's what you have. I just like the softer look for this kit. Whoops, disputed my whole thing. Not quite, uh-oh. Let's see if I can get it back in there. This will be a test. I think it was my magnet keeping it from getting pressed down. Might have to cut another label. I should have washed it down, which I did not. Oh, look, perfect. Great, so let me clean my mat, or clean my stamp. Don't have to clean the mat this time. I was very good. And just remember, if you're using the full ink pads, you don't mush because they're foam. With the little spots, you can because it's linen and it doesn't smush that much. So these you just barely kiss with it is what I call it. Okay. And I love how this layers on here. And again, I use the crushed curry because my bumblebee is low. And this I just glued flat onto the label. I really like this yellow and green combination. And I believe the kit coordinating color says Old Olive. If you would like it bolder, you could use Old Olive in your strip. Let's see if that's kind of equal. That looks pretty equal. And it looks equal, so that's all that matters, right? Okay, for the center here, I use soft suede. Let's see if I have a spot. I might have used early espresso, but I am going to change and use soft suede. I'm going to do the same technique where I'm going to take this. That I just colored in, I think, solid with a thing. I'm going to use my scrap paper here. And I should be using either, that's good. And it's solid. Is my head in the camera? you want it just solid, then don't stamp off. Now, the brochure has showed some very cute uses. They did it on a tag. You could do it on a tag or a card of the additional little 3-spot stamps and the solid one. I think we may have to add that to our alternates. Okay, so this one I put on dimensionals. No surprise there for those that craft with me. You know, it's these little things that make the cards just pop. I have a big old pile of trash to scrape in the trash can. All right, and then I'm going to try to center this. I'm going to use my grid sheets. So if you put them an 1/8 and an 1/8 off, you'll know that my center, this is at 3 7/8 and 8 1/8. So my center point is 6. So I can just kind of eyeball that and get that down. Now the flower. So let's glue our leaves on that we forgot to do on the other one. And I have a hard time knowing which way it goes. I don't think it matters. So the easiest way I know to do this is to get your double-sided adhesive. Okay, and I just put a little there. And where else am I going to put it? Up here. And then on this one, there. Oh, and see, I know, oops, don't do it that way. I'll stick to my paper. So then after you get your double-sided adhesive, you can kind of, I think it goes that way. And I pre-cut these. There, whoops. You know what, those other two are small. Let's put them on the other side. And if your glue sticks through, I just take my nail and put it out a little bit more. And I may have to, you could also use liquid glue if that's all that you had, which I'm going to add to this one because he's not wanting to stay. Then you can move him around. There you go. And with him, I did use my marker to give him a solid glue sticking out. A solid center like the other one. So let me get my marker. If you don't have the markers but have a blender pen, you could add ink that way. I just added some ink. And then I also did Wink of Stella again. For a little shine. You can see I just don't fuss too much about it. Just slap it on there. All right, so I think I want these on dimensionals again too. This one I glued flat, but I love dimensionals. So let's keep using them. And this I'm going to help the leaf stay on by putting the dimensional over where the leaves attach. How's the sound? Hopefully it's still working. Yesterday I had to do it twice because for some reason I didn't double check the sound and it wasn't on. And the one time I did a voiceover and that was a lot of work. So I just decided just re-record the video. I'll make that a little bigger. Maybe him too. Okay. Then I think I am going to do like I did there and put the flower. So when you have it hanging off of anything, trim some more dimensionals. You want to decide where you're going to put it, and then I put the dimensional up here since the label is on dimensionals. And you can, if you want, add adhesive to adhere it to the label itself. And I usually do that afterwards by picking it up and tucking the glue under there and gluing it that way. All right, so the finishing touch would just be rhinestones, which I think I'd put about in the same place. This was the first part I made, and here's the second one. Whoop, all halfway off the camera. All right. So I hope you enjoyed these alternates. So again, we used just the bottom part of the envelope. And here's our other one, which I will add leaves like I did here. And this one, which I changed out the ribbon with, I'm not sure I love. I may pull that up and do the twine again. So there you have it. And again, I still have a slew of other alternates to show. Where are they? I fanned them out yesterday, and I think I put them in a box so I wouldn't lose them. But again, I will be back hopefully tomorrow with more alternates to share. So please subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, and then you will be notified when I add those alternates to the project. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully it gave you some inspiration. Until next time, bye-bye.